Are the Toronto Maple Leafs finally going to make the bold, franchise-defining move and acquire Colton Parayko, a 6'6", Stanley Cup-winning defenseman who could transform their blue line from a question mark into a legitimate strength? Or are they going to let salary cap concerns and the St. Louis Blues' reluctance to trade stop them from getting the exact type of player they've been desperately searching for? All right, folks, let's shift our focus from forwards to the blue line. Because if there's one area where the Toronto Maple Leafs have faced persistent scrutiny and legitimate questions, it's their defense. In crucial moments, in high-pressure playoff situations, Toronto has often lacked defensemen who can absorb heavy minutes, handle the toughest matchups, and still contribute offensively. They need size, they need physicality, they need a calming presence who can shut down elite opposing forwards and move the puck effectively. And in this context, one name has emerged as one of the most desirable defensive targets for the Leafs: Colton Parayko of the St. Louis Blues. This isn't just about adding another body to the blue line. This is about a potential structural transformation of Toronto's defense, a move that could elevate them from a good team to a complete championship-caliber team. Let's break down why Parayko is the perfect fit and what obstacles stand in the way of making this blockbuster happen. Let's start with the player himself, because Colton Parayko's profile is exactly what the Toronto Maple Leafs have been searching for. He stands 6'6" and weighs 230 pounds. That's an imposing physical presence, the kind of size that changes the dynamic on the ice. He's not just big, he's mobile for his size, capable of skating well, and keeping up with faster forwards. He possesses a powerful shot from the point, the kind of weapon that can generate offense from the blue line and create havoc on the power play. He's capable of playing heavy minutes, consistently logging 20-plus minutes per game, and he can handle the toughest defensive assignments without wilting under pressure. But beyond the physical attributes and skill set, Parayko brings something even more valuable: championship pedigree. He won the Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues in 2019, playing a crucial role in that championship run. He knows what it takes to win in the playoffs. He's experienced the grind of a long postseason, and he understands how to perform when the stakes are highest. For a Toronto team that has been plagued by playoff failures and has been criticized for lacking that championship mentality, adding a player like Parayko could have a transformative impact on the locker room culture and the team's overall confidence. Parayko represents a clear upgrade to the Leafs' defensive core. He would add significant weight and physicality on the ice, providing the kind of shutdown presence that Toronto has desperately needed. His reliability in 5-on-5 situations and his contributions on special teams, both the power play and penalty kill, make him an incredibly versatile and valuable asset. Some analysts have argued that acquiring Parayko would make the Leafs bigger and bolder, not just through a singular upgrade, but through a structural transformation of their entire defensive identity. He would be the kind of anchor that allows other defensemen to play more freely, knowing they have a reliable, elite partner who can handle the toughest assignments. Imagine a defensive pairing of Colton Parayko alongside Morgan Reilly or Chris Tanev. That a combination of size, skill, defensive responsibility, and offensive creativity that would be incredibly difficult for opposing teams to handle. Parayko could take on the shutdown role, freeing up Reilly to unleash his offensive talents without having to worry as much about defensive coverage. Or he could pair with Tanev, creating a defensive wall that will be nearly impenetrable. The flexibility and the upgrade in overall defensive quality would be undeniable. In analyzing the fit, Parayko would offer the Leafs exactly the type of presence they've been seeking. Someone who doesn't get overwhelmed against the most physical opposing forwards, who can register shots from long distance, who can command the defense, and who can relieve pressure on his teammates. In long playoff series, where physicality and endurance are paramount, he's a piece of immense value. He's the kind of player who can shut down elite lines, who can play in all situations, and who brings a calming veteran presence that elevates everyone around him. But as always with the Toronto Maple Leafs, the challenges are significant. First, there's a cost. Parayko is signed through 2030 with a cap hit of $6.5 million per season. That is a substantial financial commitment. And for a team like Toronto that's already operating with minimal cap flexibility, taking on that contract would require serious maneuvering. They would likely need to move out significant salary to create the necessary cap space, which could mean sacrificing other valuable roster players or prospects. Second, there are the logistical challenges. The St. Louis Blues, who currently hold Parayko's rights, appear reluctant to trade him. He's a cornerstone piece of their defense, a leader in their locker room, and a player they view as essential to their own competitive aspirations. Convincing the Blues to part with Parayko would require Toronto to offer a package that's simply too good to refuse, likely including top prospects, high draft picks, and potentially even roster players. The Blues aren't in a fire sale. They're not desperate to move players. They would only trade Parayko if they receive a premium return that helps them rebuild or retool for the future. Third, Toronto's current salary cap situation is incredibly tight. They have minimal space available, and adding Parayko's $6.5 million cap hit would necessitate moving out significant salary elsewhere. This could mean trading players like Kaye Jarnkrok, David Kampf, or even making more difficult decisions about their core roster. The financial gymnastics required to make this trade work are complex and potentially risky. However, if the Leafs are truly serious about winning the Stanley Cup now, if they're willing to go all in and make the bold, franchise-defining moves necessary to transform from a perennial playoff disappointment into a legitimate championship contender, then acquiring Colton Parayko is exactly the kind of move they should be pursuing. He's the type of player who can elevate a good team into a complete team, who can provide the defensive stability and championship experience that Toronto has been lacking for decades. The question is, are Brad Treliving and the Maple Leafs willing to pay the price? Are they willing to part with significant future assets, to take on a substantial long-term contract, and to make the difficult roster decisions necessary to create the cap space? If they are, then Parayko could be the missing piece that finally pushes them over the top. If they're not, if they opt for a cheaper, shorter-term solution, then they'll continue to be stuck in the same cycle of regular season success and playoff disappointment. In summary, Colton Parayko is the type of large-scale move that the Toronto Maple Leafs can make if they want to aim for the title now and lay the foundation for the coming years. If they can overcome the obstacles, the financial constraints, the Blues' reluctance to trade, and the asset cost, he could transform their defense from a question mark into a legitimate strength, from a good team into a complete championship-caliber team. What do you think, Leafs Nation? Should Brad Treliving go all in and do whatever it takes to acquire Colton Parayko from the St. Louis Blues? What kind of package would you be willing to offer? Top prospects, multiple first-round picks, roster players. And how crucial is it for the Leafs to finally address their defensive needs with a proven, elite, championship-tested player? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear all your perspectives on this potential blockbuster. And if you want to stay on top of every trade rumor, every potential acquisition, and every breaking news story as the NHL season unfolds, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. We'll be here breaking down every significant development, and you won't want to miss a single update as we continue to chase that ultimate prize.